Welcome everyone to our panel discussion for Group Assignment 2 under Human Communication B. Today, we will be diving into the topic Social Exchange Theory or SET. This theory plays a big role in explaining how we form, maintain, or even end relationship, whether with family, friends, or college. To break it down and analyze this theory, we have a panel of 5 members. Khairul will talk about the assumptions behind the theory. Jaren will explain a relatable real-life scenario. Paul will cover how the theory applies in everyday life. Kamal will examine the pros and cons of the theory. And I will be wrapping things up in the conclusions. Let's begin with a short introduction to the theory. Social exchange theory was introduced by George Homans and later developed by Thibault, Kelly, Blau, and others. At its core, social exchange theory sees human interactions as an exchange process. We give something and expect something in return. Rewards can be emotional support, time, attention, or even status. Costs include stress, effort, and also emotional strain. This theory is grounded in the idea that people want to maximize benefits and minimize costs. We calculate, sometimes consciously, sometimes not, whether our relationships are worth it. If the benefit outweigh the cost, we usually stay. If not, we might walk away. The theory is not limited to romantic or close relationship. It also applies to the friendship, families, and even workplace interactions. Now, let's hear from Khairul, who will explain the assumption that form the foundation of this theory.
Okay, thank you, Nurin. Social exchange theory is based on 3 key assumptions. The first one is people are motivated by profit. That doesn't mean money, but rather any kind of benefit like support, love, or respect. We stay in relationship that give us more good than bad. If it starts to feel like a one-side effort, we might stop investing in it. The second one, we all have a comparison level. This is like a personal standard of what we believe we deserve in a relationship. It is shaped by our past experience, culture, and personal values. For example, someone from a loving family might expect the same support from friends or partners. If their current relationship doesn't meet this level, they may feel disappointed. The third one is there's the comparison level for alternative. This means we compare our current relationship to other possible options. If someone thinks they can have a better experience with someone else or even alone, they might consider leaving the current relationship. This is where people start to explore what else is out there. Together, these assumptions show that we are constantly evaluating our relationship, sometimes without even realizing it. We look at what we are getting, what we expect, and what are the choices we have. Now, let's pass it to Jaren, who will explain a real-life situation that reflects how social exchange theory works.
Thanks, Carol. So let's take a simple relationship scenario. Imagine a couple. Let's call them Sarah and Amir. Okay. At first, everything is great. Both feel loved, supported, and emotionally satisfied. But over time, Amir becomes emotionally distant. Sarah feels like she's giving more emotionally and physically while getting less in return. Now, here's where the social exchange theory comes in. Sarah starts weighing the costs, which are loneliness, frustration, and unmet needs, against the rewards, which have started to shrink. She compares her situations to her own comparison level, making maybe her parents had a balanced relationship and she expects the same as well. So her expectations in this case are not being met. She also thinks about the alternatives. Uh, would she be happier alone or in a new relationship where she might feel valued. If she believes the alternative is better, she may leave Amir even if their relationship was once strong. Okay, so the cost benefit analysis might sound cold, but it's how many people make decisions without even knowing they're applying social exchange theory in their daily lifestyle. So this shows how social exchange theory actually reflects real life through processes, especially in situations where dissatisfaction starts to grow. Let's move on to Paul, who will explain how the social exchange theory applies more broadly in our everyday life.
Thanks, Jaren. So we move to our next part, which is I want to explain about social exchange theory is everywhere, not just romantic relationship, but also in friendship, family life, and workplaces. So there are three that I want to elaborate about, which is in friendships, in families, and in the workplace. So for the first point, in friendships, we invest time and emotional energy. If one friend always listens and supports the other, never shows up in tough times. Eventually, the first friend may unfeel drained. They may stop trying because the emotional cost is too high. Next is in families. Parents and children also engage in exchanges. Parents give support, care, and guidance. As children grow older, if parents feel taken and for granted or children feel their needs aren't met, tension arises. And for the third, in the workplace, employees stay in jobs or not just for the salary but for recognition, team support, or career growth. If they feel undervalued or if there's a toxic environment, they might look for better alternatives like new job offers. Set explains why employees stay or resign. Another example, in toxic friendships, someone might stay in harmful relationship because they believe the benefits like popularity or social access outweigh the emotional cost, or maybe they feel they have no better alternatives. This theory really helps us see how we always balancing give and take whether we realize it or not. Now let's hear Kamal take on the strengths and weaknesses of this theory.
Thanks, Paul. So let's talk about the pros first. Okay, the first one is flexibility. So social exchange theory can be applied across many settings. For example, for relationships, work, healthcare, education, and even online communication. The second one is predictive power. So it will help explain and even predict why people stay or leave relationships. So the third one is teamwork and trust. In organizations, it is used to understand trust, employee satisfaction, and loyalty. So research shows that when people feel they are treated fairly, they give back with loyalty and effort. And the last one is digital teams. So SAT, is known as social exchange theory, is also helpful in virtual workplaces. Studies found that fair exchanges, even in online teams, can improve the collaboration and also the motivations. Now, we will talk about the cons. The first one is overly rational. Social exchange theory assumes we are always calculating benefits and costs, but in real life, people often act based on emotions, values, or cultures, not just for the logic. The second one is ignores altruism. Not at all relationships are give and take. Parents, for instance, don't always expect something in return. And the third one is cultural bias. The theory is rooted in Western individualistic thinking. So in a collective cultures, people may prioritize group harmony over personal gain. And the last one, I think it is about power imbalance. It doesn't fully address relationships with unequal power, like abusive relationships where one party cannot easily leave, even if the costs are high. So while social exchange theory is powerful in explaining some dynamics, it doesn't cover all aspects of human relationships. Back to Nurin for the conclusion.
Thanks, Kamal. To sum up, social exchange theory shows us that relationships are not just emotional, they also involve decisions based on effort, fairness, and perceived value. We are always comparing what we give with what we get, whether with friends, family, or college. But we must also remember that people aren't robots. Emotions, culture, and morals are also influence decisions which social exchange theory may sometimes overlook. Still, social exchange theory is a useful theory. It helps us become more mindful in our relationships, making sure we aren't just giving endlessly or expecting without giving. Balanced relationships require mutual understanding, respect, and appreciations. That brings our panel discussion to an end. We hope you learned something useful about how communication and decision making are deeply connected through social exchange theory. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to leave your comments on feedback on the video. Bye!